We have a very special surprise to the shop this weekend. This isn't just any old 911. This is a 1 of 24 in North America, 1998 Vesuvio trim 911. These things are currently valued at almost $230,000, and I did not expect such a rare collector Porsche trim to come into the shop this weekend. What else comes with the Vesuvio trim is this very, very special limited edition paint job, which is almost kind of like a pastel purple or eggplant purple. It's got shades of dark gray, but it's got just a touch of purple inside of it. Probably one of my favorite colors I've seen in a Porsche like ever. And you have the classic 911 body styling to go with it. Like, this thing is truly an actual beauty. Our client Thomas purchased this brand new in '98. And as one of the cars in his collection, he thought it was about time to show it some love and get it taken care of with the Dragon Auto treatment. So we're going to be applying an application of Icon Rocklear to all the painted surfaces and ceramic coating his glass, wheels, and trim, so we can help restore this paint. I mean, it already looks fantastic, but let's bring out as much gloss and shine as possible, remove any marginal fading from the sun that's accumulated over the last 20-something years, and seal in the condition for the foreseeable future. My name is Noah, founder and co-owner of Dragon Auto. Let's go ahead and pull this into the wash area so we can start the prep process, and we'll show you a condensed version of what it's going to take to restore and protect this beautiful piece of European automotive history. Before we can even start washing the car, air-cooled Porsches need a special little touch. So this is a old drying microfiber towel that I'm gonna use to cover up the rear here because I don't want any water to get into the engine area. I don't want that to get sucked in when the car gets started later. So we're gonna make sure that that is nice and covered. We tuck the towel in everywhere so it is blocking the pressure washer. Plus, I'm just not gonna shoot the pressure washer directly into this area anyway. There's no need to do that. But for the residual overspray, that's there protecting it. Now that the direct cold lighting is on the car out here, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can really see the purple shining through right now. As far as the original paint condition, now that we have some very direct lighting, we actually do have a fair amount of swirls on the hood here. My eyes can see it. I don't know if the camera can see it. They're so minimal that I'm not even sure you could really see them. After all the hand washing is done, we are gonna clay bar it and then it is ready to pull in. I don't have to clay bar this car very aggressively because it is probably in fantastic shape. Just a tiny bit of stuff on the surface, but I can't really feel a whole lot of gritty, grimy things. As a quick overview for why we clay bar, how you exfoliate your skin, I gotta exfoliate the paint of the car. I gotta deep clean the pores of the paint out so that way when we put the Rocklear on top, I'm not just sealing in a bunch of contamination. I don't wanna seal in a bunch of blackheads, you know? Catch my drift? Especially the ladies out there. I don't know about the dudes, some of y'all are crusty. I have the wash mitt here as well so I can keep squeezing it for more soapy water. I always want it to be nice and lubricated. If it ever feels sticky, that's not a good sign. I am rubbing something on the surface. I wanna make sure I'm trying to cause as few swirls or scratches as humanly possible. And when you do it this way, it's very, very minor that you leave on the surface and it comes right out once we start compounding the car later. If you didn't catch it earlier, the 24 in North America, I think the owner told me 3 of them have already been totaled. So this is 21 left in the States or North America. And then when I looked online, it said that there were only about 60 units of these made worldwide, or maybe it's 100. There are some conflicting sources that said it was either 60 or 100, but regardless, that is an extremely low amount of vehicles with this special edition trim package. We finished all the wash prep. Now I can pull it into the showroom. We can get started on the next stage of prep, compounding. Now the next stage is to compound the vehicle. I don't want to bore you with too much technical explanations for why and how we do this. We have other videos on the channel that dive deep into that. but I'll lightly touch on it. This is a proprietary Icon Rocklear compound, which is meant to prep the surface. We're trying to get this thing surgically clean because if we apply the Rocklear without properly physically cleaning the surface, like, yes, hand washing is not enough. We have to strip off waxes, sealants, road film, any kind of buildup on the surface needs to be off. Over here, we have splitting. This is what happens when the surface does not get prepped properly. We don't want that on this 911. So we have to prep the surface properly using their specialized compound. And if there are any severe scratches, but this one right here is a deeper scratch that we can see. So it runs along the back right there. We got to knock this down. Rocklear has the ability to fill in some scratches, but if the scratch is deep enough, it can't fill it in all the way. So I got to level it down a little bit first by doing some proper prep, and that way it can fill in the recess. Like, we would need some crazy motion graphic, or I need a visual to demonstrate how scratches work on that level. I can't verbally tell you or show it with my hands, but a scratch is missing material and the Rocklear is not able to fill it in if it's too deep. So Josh will go ahead and get some B-roll shots of me doing the compound on the car. And then after that, I will start doing our alcohol wipe, which doesn't need much explanation. We're removing the polish off the car using an alcohol to break down the greasy oils inside of it to get it ready for the masking tape stage. Let's get to it. So I just wanted to polish the area first before sanding it to see if it would come out from polishing or compounding. I try not to use the word compounding too much because I feel like the layman doesn't even know what compounding means. It's an industry specific term, but polishing is the everyman term that y'all would understand a lot easier. You see me using a polisher, I call it polishing. Makes sense. I might just sand it just a tiny bit more to knock it down, but I think the compound took it out for the most part. But I'll sand it just to be safe because I want to make sure that it's knocked down enough where when we Rocklear it, it's going to actually disappear. It gets better results for the client that way. All right, so now I got my 3000 grit sandpaper. I can go ahead and go over the deeper scratch back here. And just try to knock it down just a little bit more so I can be 100% sure that it's low enough for the Rocklear to fully fill it in. All right, that's perfect. So from how it looks right now, I have a really good sign that it's not going to show up if I Rocklear over that. And then I can also test that too, because if I spray water on the surface, I shouldn't be able to see the scratch anymore. The water should be able to fill it in. So yeah, as I'm spraying it, the water is covering it up, which means that the Rocklear will also cover it up. If you can still see a scratch even after you pour water on it, that means that that is really deep. And it either has to be sanded more or it's just completely cooked. Okay, there's a small section over here too. Let's do the scratch ran along the whole back side of the spoiler here. Go ahead and blast that real fast and then spray it. All right, looks clear. After the compounding stage, it is now time to wipe off all those polishing oils like I mentioned. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my isopropyl alcohol and get our pad loaded up here. We actually found that we get the best installation results when we do not skimp on the isopropyl alcohol. So you see there that I got my towel really saturated, and I'm gonna just spread this out now. I want the isopropyl to really work in there, break down everything, and have it be properly removed. Jen is gonna come in with a wipe afterwards to dry wipe. They're done with the car in the other building now, so gang is ready to help out. Oh, you might also notice too, this white towel right here, I have to specifically use white. Like, dyes will break down from a blue towel like that. It's okay to dry wipe it because we're removing the leftover residue off the surface, but wet wiping with any color towel, like yellow, blue, red, whatever, those dyes are actually gonna leak out into the towel. Now, what does that mean for our install? That means that as I'm wiping, those dyes are getting left behind on the surface, and it's gonna leave behind some amount of contamination on the surface, because remember, I told you we're trying to get this as clean as freaking possible. We need to make sure that those dyes don't get on the surface to interrupt the bond between the paint and the Rocklear. So we don't want those on there. I use a white towel only. Even down to the small details like that, that's the difference Like, I guarantee you, bro, when we first got our hands on Rocklear originally, and we still got trained, we would just assume, oh, there's no difference. But that's why we went through the steps to do the proper training. We got trained by Sachin over at Coding King Studio. They were the first ones in the Bay Area to start offering Rocklear, and they approached us and they were like, hey, you know, do you guys want to check this out as a service offering? We can do a demo and everything. And during the training, he was explaining to us that exact process because he had already figured out, you know, best practices for Rocklear. I think right now our boy is actually one of the national trainers. His position is always changing. He's always helping out with setting up shops and stuff. But I think he's currently national trainer. So he goes down to other shops in the area, in NorCal or in other states. He'll fly out sometimes to get them started, get them trained properly, and make sure that they're doing good, clean installs. So that way people don't do garbage installs that then get posted online and give the rest of us a bad name. It's like, all it takes is one, man. I get sent like one post online all the time from this one shop that did a terrible job, and their work has nothing to do with my work. And then everyone's like, oh my God, bro. But did you see that one post? Noah's got 300 something reviews, bro, but did you see that one post? Oh man, that one post. Oh yeah, it's cooked, bro. Man, like, I get it, but at the same time, I'll just be sitting here working on $200,000 cars, delivering good results that the clients like. And then people are like, bro, but that one online post though, did you read it?
Even though the car looks dry now because we washed it, there's water hiding in all the crevices. And that's the real danger you can't see, because a single drop that seeps out from a badge or crevice can contaminate a fresh coat of Rocklear. It's not just the $50 in wasted material on that one panel. It's the risk of a domino effect. To fix that one contaminated panel, we risk compromising the two perfect panels next to it. It's how a 20-minute fix can turn into several hours of having to redo our own hard work. That's why we hunt down every last drop, because we're eliminating that risk before it can even start.
While they finish up the last few areas with the alcohol wipe, I can go ahead and check again with my gloved hand to see like how smooth it is. I shouldn't really have my hand get stuck or get caught anywhere with any friction. So as I'm rubbing it across the surface right now, it feels pretty smooth. My hand is gliding. So that's how we know that when the Rocklear applicator makes contact with the surface, it's gonna be nice and smooth. But we like to do a final check. I don't have any alcohol or oils on this. These are fresh gloves, and it feels good on the hood. So I can check other areas too. Feels good over here as well. And that's just one of those final checks that we do to make sure that it's actually gonna lay down correctly. Like, it's not that finalized if we do put it down. I can take it off when it's fresh. Some people think the permanence of Rocklear means that you can't make any mistakes or anything. Like, no man, we make mistakes on cars all the time. They're small, tiny ones. Like, oops, there's a small little miss right there. Or like, oh, I didn't really like how that panel looked. It just doesn't look up to standard. We can take it off because it's fresh. It's still in liquid form. It hasn't hardened yet. So that's what we do sometimes. We just take it off and we redo it. It's more about checking how the panel looks after you put it on. Or let's say an area didn't get prepped properly. Maybe this didn't get compounded enough. And so we apply the Rocklear, and then it lays down nice and flat over here, and then there's a bunch of streak mark lines up in here because it wasn't prepped properly. Okay, that's fine. We just take off the hood and then we redo it. And then once we're done with alcohol wipe, we'll be able to start putting the masking tape on, all the trims, all the glass. Rocklear is designed for painted surfaces. That's why we did all the prep on these painted surfaces, but it's not really designed to bond to most plastics and glass correctly without streaking or just not looking pretty. We still put a ceramic coating on all those surfaces later, which is what we're gonna do tomorrow after we peel the masking tape back off. I found one more thing I wanna highlight, dude. Like, I'm just trying to show this because this is how thorough we are sometimes with how close we look at stuff. This right there looks like a nib. That's like contamination. It's a little black spot. Do I have to move my finger for you, or can you focus? The black spot right there, that's like trapped in the paint job. When they resprayed it, something like dirt or contamination or something got stuck in there. Now, that is the part that would bug me, personally. Like, if I paid money for that respray and I got back a little dirt nib like that on my rare collector Porsche, I'd be like, man, run me my money back. Hit me with a chargeback, bro.
time to apply the Rocklear. First step though, before we do that, is we have to use this tack cloth. This is commonly used in the body shop industry. This is an extra optional step that will be incorporated as standard into our process because dust settles. Like we alcohol wiped this earlier, right? But right before we lay it down, we're just gonna go over the surface with this real quick just to make sure that there's no lint, no contamination that could possibly mix with the Rocklear. So we've already mixed our Rocklear solution and let it chill inside of the fridge to get it nice and cold. We like our Rocklear installs to be done as cold as possible. The colder, the better. Think about pancake batter hitting a hot pan. We want the pancake batter to be cold so it has more working time, more time to level out and settle down. And if the surface was hot or liquid is hot, it's gonna dry faster. So after we tack cloth, lay this down, we're gonna load up our applicators, and then Josh is gonna get B-roll of how the finish looks as we apply the coating and kind of what our process is like. But this is a small car, so it's relatively simple, relatively straightforward and easy. And then Kevin's gonna follow along. We have an extra step. So that vacuum blower from earlier is not just for blowing out water. We're also gonna use it to blow a freshly applied panel because it's an extra optional step that we do as standard to make sure that the coating levels out faster. So that way it helps smooth out the coating. We don't have to wait as long for it to cure in the sun and all that stuff over the following weeks. It just looks nicer when the client comes and picks it up. It's a more immediate difference. You'll see it on camera. When Josh checks out the panel right after Kevin's done spraying it with the air blower, it's gonna look really, really smooth. Once I put the mask on, I'm not gonna talk. That's why I'm doing all the talking right now. Yeah, once I put this on, you can't hear me. I'm gonna be all muffled. So Jen's already gonna do the tack cloth. I'm gonna put this on now, and we're gonna get to it.
This is that special applicator I was talking about, so we can gently put the Rocklear into the crevices of the badge.
Alrighty. It is the next day and the Icon Rocklear has had enough to cure for us to safely take off the tape. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on that. But as you can see, I am not in my usual work grip. That's because today is actually an off day, but because we just want to go ahead and make sure that things are all done and ready for the client to pick up, we are fine with just coming in on our off days just to kind of like do the finishing touches and whatnot. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started.
The 993 is back, and it has been several weeks since we originally applied the Rocklear coating. Now that it is fully hardened, I'm going to go ahead and do my inspection on all the panels here to make sure that everything looks good. On a super rare collector car like this, of course, we are going to pay super fine attention to detail. I am talking about checking, typically one of the ones on the 993s is that you see how there's no separation of the fender here. So we have this section that goes underneath and then it wraps all the way around and over here. So this is not an easy flat panel to do. It is pretty much guaranteed to need some level of sanding afterwards when we are done. So I can see kind of like up here, I had to make my split and start going top to bottom like this. And then you can see just a little bit of markings. Maybe the Osmo, I'll show you guys some close-ups, but the Osmo might have difficulty trying to identify that, which just goes to show the level of like fine attention to detail. My eyes can see it clearly, but after I hit it with some 3000 grit sandpaper, this will be no problem. We also have a little bit of rainbowing on the hood. There is potential that maybe something was not blown out for the cracks and crevices. There's a tiny bit of water left and that got into the Rocklear and caused a small rainbow effect. Once again, no problem. I polish it, it'll be gone. And then up here, you can actually see that this top section of paint has these two windshield wipers coming straight out of it.
This is impossible to get right on the first try because you're gonna have to stop exactly what you're doing and then work your way around this. So you try to get it as close as you can within spec, and then we can hit it with the 3000 grit once we're all done. So I'm gonna check on fenders, hoods, like the whole car, but those are the ones that I already know about that I'm gonna tackle first. So I'll do a little time lapse, I'll get you guys the close-ups and then show you the after results. So that way we can call this vehicle truly done.
Now we're on the final part of the process, the part that separates a done job from a truly finished one. In the background, you can see the sun start setting outside. This is the part of the job where we stop counting the minutes and just focus on the finish. It's not the most profitable way to do things, but it's the only way to get a result like this. For a 1 of 24 Porsche, for a piece of automotive history, good enough is an insult. You either do it right, or you just don't touch it at all. So there it finally is. A piece of Porsche history restored and preserved. The Vesuvio's paint now has a wet, glossy look that's just deeper than when it left the factory 27 years ago. But the real story here is about the trust. It's working with a client like Thomas. He's a true enthusiast that knows this wasn't going to be just a standard job. He didn't just want a shiny car. He wanted to protect a car he loves with the right approach. Seeing him at pickup be happy with the final results was honestly everything. This is the level of work we do. If you've got a car that means as much to you, click the link in the description to book a consultation or get a quote. My name is Noah, founder of Dragon Auto, and we'll see you in the next one.